Hello, thanks for listening. Before we start, can I please ask a huge favour if you haven't already done so? Can you please hit that subscribe button? It grows the show more than I can do justice. And with a bigger show, we get a larger platform, which, as you have seen, can then attract bigger and better guests. And we can produce more invaluable content for you all to enjoy. It literally takes 2 seconds, is completely free of charge to do, and enhances our profile massively. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Hodge-Cast podcast. Today's guest, larger-than-life character, Big Dan Ramson. Dan's story that he's going to go dive into today is one of addiction, recovery, but it has a happy ending. And I'll let Dan sort of explain that as the conversation goes on. But first of all, Dan, how you doing, mate?
Thank you for inviting me to where are we, Lee or Wigan?
Lee, we are in the studio.
Get offended,
yeah. No, well I'm saying telling the sorts.
Thanks for inviting me. Pleasure.
No, appreciate your time, Dan. And I think an old friend of mine, Rob Beach, who's been on the show before, he put me in touch with yourself, said, you need to get into this guy. His story's incredible. And having spoke to you a few times, because we've been planning this for a couple of months now, I agree. And I think it's a story that's very relevant and a story that a lot of our listeners, particularly my audience, could take a level of inspiration from. Before we kind of divulge into who you are and, early foundations, we ask this question to all our guests, and it's the icebreaker, inaugural question. What does challenge mean to you, Dan?
Be happy every day. Without happiness, you got nothing. No matter where you are, as much money you've got, what beach you're on, if you're not happy, you absolutely got nothing. That's what I think.
Yep, short and sweet. The shortest one. I like it. It's nice and straight talking. Yeah. But I completely agree. I'm sure most people will with that. Money doesn't. I know it makes the world go round as such, but it doesn't make the mind go round. So I do agree with you on that. Okay. So the reason we asked that question, Dan, is simply because as the narrative goes on the podcast, we want to be able to go, right, you're happy. We can refer back to that answer. But I want to sort of strip it back to the start. We've had a few kind of big names on the podcast. You've only done a couple of podcasts, so I think it'd be good for the listeners to know who you are and the makeup behind Big Dan Ramson. Yeah. So a little bit of early life, mate. Where did you grow up? Where'd you come
Bury,
from?
Big character in Bury. 42 now, born 6th of February 1982 on a cold, windy night. As Elvis said, no. 42. Grew up in Elton in Bury. Nice little district, good town,
So was you a troublemaker or anything at school?
Was there trouble? Well, I got expelled from 3.
Right.
Okay. I had my first fight on my first day at school. I got suspended. How about that one? On my first day, my mum went mad. So just a character, just a young character. Learning my ways, 11-year-old. Looking back though, I've got a daughter who's just turned 12, and I'm thinking I'm the same age as her. Do you know when I started on my pathway?
So your daughter's not been expelled?
She's a good girl. She's a good girl.
Oh, brilliant. So also as well, I mentioned earlier you're a big character. You're also a big guy in stature. How tall are you, Dan?
6'6".
6'6".
20 stone. 20 stone 7, I am now. Yeah.
All right, okay, because you're a lot heavier than that at one point, weren't you? Well, normally I get 6'2", 17 stone. I'm usually the big Dan in the room, but obviously you're bigger Dan in this case. You mentioned there with fighting, so was you involved in like sports, combat sports growing up?
I was a good footballer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a good footballer, but I messed it up like usual. I remember this story coming over here. I was about 12-year-old and about 13 I was scouted for being. I was a goalkeeper.
Okay.
And I was fantastic. I was brilliant. And I had about 6 scouts on the side watching me, but my trainer didn't tell me. So when I got the ball this one time, a 13-year-old got the ball and dribbled up the pitch, and I got my ass out. Do you know what I mean? And then all these 6 scouts were watching me, turned around and walked off. That was me. That's me all over. Do you know, like a bit of a... It was fantastic, whatever I did, but I was messed it up. Yeah.
So what do you... Because I know when we spoke off camera, you did a bit of boxing. You were quite good at that as well.
I was very good, yeah.
So how did the transition from football to boxing, or was it just you adapted?
Well, I used to train with Amir Khan.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was about 16, about 15, 14. I remember all the single mums from Bury used to send the kids to boxing on a Tuesday night, in Bury. And Amir Khan used to be there, so it was all these naughty kids where the mums and dads used to send them away for 2 hours just to have a bit of peaceful time, And I always remember Amir Khan's dad used to walk around with him, saying, come on. He was the only kid with any mums and dads there. All the rest of them, they were just sent there, for 2 hours. just peace. So that's how my transition to the boxing started. You know, when I was training in American many years ago.
Awesome.
Nearly 30 years ago that.
So was you because obviously totally different weight classes now.
Yeah.
Was you always a big lad? Was you always
Always
a big
big,
kid?
yeah. Looking at the school photos and looking at photos, yeah. Looking at the photos, yeah. I was always big.
You always. So presumably you're fighting sort of cruiserweight, heavyweight.
Yeah, of course.
Sort
When
of
I
thing.
was 17, I used to work on doors.
Oh, it's okay.
You know, when I was 17, I got a phone call. I remember I was a big lad in Bury. I was a big thumper. You know, I was 18, not 18, that's wrong. But I was the big lad in Bury at 17-year-old. I remember there was 2 Irish lads called Patrick and Thomas. They used to run the doors in Bury. And I got the phone call and they said, I didn't know they were. They said, do you want to work on door? 30 quid a night. I went, yeah, go on then. So I remember I had a dicky ball and I went and worked till the door at 17-year-old. Do you know what I mean? My lad's age, you know, I look at him, I think he's the same age as me. And I was working on the door, you know, in Manchester and everything at 17-year-old.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's remarkable if you think about it now.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. I know a few of my mates who've worked on the door. I think they were easily like 20 in the 20s.
17-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, fighting,
You're not even
fighting
come of
with
age
gangs
there,
from
have you?
Manchester, you know, you know, like being thrusting on this, you know, and this for 30 quid a night, but there's a lot of money them days.
Yeah. So just going back to the boxing, obviously you referenced Amir Khan. There's also another big personality, another
Yeah.
you know, kind of similar traits for you in this guy I meant to mention. But you've also got pals with Tyson Fury as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know what? I first met Tyson when Ricky Hatton fought Costa Zoo. Remember it for a world title, and we went for a meal at the big Britannia Hotel, I think it was in Manchester. And they come with all the Furies and me and my mates from Bury. And we had a big posh meal, and they all had tracksuits on. We had all smartly dressed, and we all had tracksuits. And we were walking to the arena. So I first met Tyson. He had curtains then, and he had a run corner tracksuit. And his dad said to me, I've never forgot these words. This is my son, Danny Tyson. I went, Tyson? He said, that's his name, Tyson. I said, who calls his son Tyson? Are you taking the piss? He went, he shook me hand, he scrolls me hand, he went, he's called Tyson, Danny. I went, what a lovely name that is, Joe. What an absolute lovely name. Yeah, so that's how I got to know him. I've known him ever since.
Oh, awesome. So did you do a bit of boxing with Tyson? Or
no,
he just
come. I used to box for Collyhurst. I used to box at Collyhurst. And then he come just after me. So I started boxing when I was about 26. And he come, so that would be 15 years ago. He just come just a bit after me.
So yeah,
so we just passed out.
Yeah. Of course, you said you're 42. Yeah, he's about 35 now.
Yeah, so he just missed.
Like
But he's, whatever you read about Tyson, you see, it's completely true.
Yeah,
he's completely true. There's no fluffs on him. He is what he is.
Yeah.
I
mean, I make no qualms about it. I'm a massive Fury fanboy. I know he's not. He's kind of gone from a little bit the fan favourite to kind of like they've turned against him a little bit, maybe because of some of his antics. But I've always
he's done well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I always look at myself. I could have been him. I wasn't as good as him. Nowhere near. I don't want to put that out. But I was a character. I could talk a bit, and I was funny, and I could box. I could really box. I could fight. And then, but he just obviously drinking got hold of me and. He did what he did, put me in tumble drying and spun me upside down,
Yeah. Well, that'll segue nicely to this next part, because the next bit I want to ask you, Dan. When did you first well, first of all, let's ask this sort of two-battle question. When did you first come accustomed to alcohol?
12.
She was 12, she was very young.
Pissed up, yeah. Drunk, 12 o'clock.
Was that just drinking over the park?
No,
school?
just went bored one. Got expelled from school one Tuesday day, I think it was. I thought, I'm going to go get pissed. And I went up to the shop, I got 8 German beers and got pissed at home by myself. That's it. That's how it started.
Wow.
The great journey. The great Big Dan journey started with 8 German beers on a Tuesday afternoon.
So was there any kind of, because obviously some people, when they go through addiction and what have you, they're kind of masking stuff. Was there any issues at home, or was you just that large in life?
I used to live with, obviously, my granddad was a big drinker, and there was a bit of rock hall with my mum and my granddad and all that, which don't go far too, but I just felt a bit lonely, So I found I reached out for a drink. And that's how it started at 12-year-old.
12-year-old. And was that constant from 12-year-old?
All the time, yeah.
All the time.
Going on holiday, I went to holiday in Spain at 13, 14-year-old, like with my mates and his mum, and I ended up waking up this is not normal, waking up in Ben Medina in a pub toilet at 4 o'clock in the morning when it was shut. In a pub toilet, and I had to sleep there all night till they opened it at 11 o'clock this morning. You know what I mean? It was 13, 14-year-old, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah. It'd be in the papers now, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I live quite to be honest with you, in school I was pretty quiet. I came out my shell when I left school, but I'm just thinking when I was 13, I think I was into like Pokemon or footy stickers or something like that. Yeah, so there wasn't so, I mean, I suppose the second part of the question would be, when would you identify there was a problem? But I mean, if you were drinking at 13 years old,
I got caught drink driving at 18. Who does that? You know, look, saying that now, who gets drunk, done drink driving at 18-year-old? They don't happen. Doesn't happen now, does it?
No.
That was me. I got caught in Blackpool. You know, that's.
Do you think it's maybe obviously a generational culture sort of thing? Because like
I
you
just
said,
think I was bonkers.
I just think
I was. But looking back, what I've done, like my career, what I've had. Wow. Do you know what I mean? I've got 2 people that want to write books on my life now, and they want to do it. And I'm not doing it this year, but I'm going to write because some of the stuff that I've done, I'm lucky to be here. You know, I'm lucky not to be a picture on someone's mental piece. That's what I say. Because I have had some life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, obviously, we'll divulge into some stories shortly. I mean, looking at you now, Dan, you know, your skin's very clear.
Yeah,
you know,
of course, I could be a model.
It's 100%.
You know what I mean?
You know, I know, but I like that because it just shows how you can change your life around.
But that's my confidence coming out because I have been in the shit that absolutely, we'll talk about it in carry on, like, but I've been in absolutely, you know, deep territory. You know what I mean? So I embrace it. That's why I come on the show, to embrace how you can change.
Yeah. I suppose the next stage would be kind of like, I know, sort of mental health, addiction, that sort of thing. It's very rife now. There's a lot of telltale signs. Obviously, your character, your personality, and the fact, you know, you was kind of drinking at such a young age. When did you see yourself having a problem, or when did other people perhaps?
What, when I was younger?
When you was a kid, that teenage sort of from 13 to 20.
They didn't really bother about you then, did they? You know, they didn't. You know, you used to get drunk and come home. Do you know what I mean? That's what you did. You used to go to the park and drink 2 bottles of cider. I used to like 4 bottles of cider. And they didn't come home. That was me. You know what I mean? And getting arrested at 17, 18-year-old, 14, 15, 16-year-old getting arrested, getting bailed out, you know, off your mum. You know, but as it was, but it was, looking back, that was like it was a different time then, wasn't it? Yeah. You know, if my 17-year-old son now got arrested, drink driving, it'd be like, I'd be going mad, wouldn't I? His mum would going mad. But now it was like, then it was just like, well, here's what it was. But I was always a bit more than everybody else. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit more extra.
So I think it'd be fair to say you definitely had an addictive personality in a sense, kind of that. But also, I suppose that's probably a bit, because you mentioned earlier you adapted to sport very well. Yeah. So it's almost like you can combine the competitive side. I'm going to be better than you at football, better than you at boxing. I'm also going to drink more than you as well. So do you say that was something that was always engraved?
Definitely. I always wanted to be a bit better. Not better, because it wasn't a good thing what we did. But I always wanted to be extreme. I was always the big lad as well. You know what I mean? I was always the character. I could talk. I could do, you know, I could pull the girls. You know, I was the leader. If that makes sense.
It's well, I think when you've got that sort of large in life personality that you have, now obviously you're at the other side of it. You'd realise you don't necessarily need alcohol or substances to bring that out. But at the time, you kind of...
That's all you had.
Dependence on it, aren't you? Thinking that's going to be the...
I see that when people know that help. Do you know, people can't see their life past alcohol. They can't see it. It's like a different world. It's like going to the moon. You tell them not to drink on a Friday night. It's like saying, oh, do you want to go to the moon fit day? It's true. But that's how I was. I didn't give a shit either. You know, that was just me. That was how I was.
So I suppose, I know we've highlighted a few. Can you give us any kind of significant moments with drink that you kind of knew, the kind of moments now when you're in hindsight, excuse me, where you look back and you can see, yeah, that was probably a moment where I definitely had a problem with drink.
I'll tell you what changed my life is discovering cocaine.
All right, okay.
I'm telling you, that's what's changed my life. That really... That's what it was.
So, because they tend to come hand in hand, don't they?
But drinking, and I think 17, I discovered cocaine. Right. And that was a changing point for me. Because everything was like elevated more than. You know what I mean? That was like, wow, the showstopper of this. No, probably I was about 18, 19. I was working on the doors, you know. I'll tell you what, this is a funny story. When I used to work on doors, I used to get 30 quid. I was 17-year-old, 30 quid. At the end of the night, I drunk that much on the door, I owed them a tenner. So every week, I owed them a tenner. I had about 12 bottles of beer on the way I was working on the door. So looking back, I had a big problem then. I think it was a confidence thing. Do you know what I mean? I thought I used to work on the door with these blokes, these gangs coming up from Manchester. I used to work on the door with these other 2 lads. And I think I used to drink to have confidence. Do you know what I mean? Because I know I could do what I could do. I was a big, strong lad. But I used to overthink things. Do you know? And so I used to get drunk to calm it down.
And then set the other stuff which took
and that was just the pathway.
So we're sort of, I suppose we can kind of tie into this one nicely. So have you any kind of, from being sort of a teenager, any funny stories? Well, it wouldn't be funny now looking. They're funny because you've come out of it the other end with the benefit of hindsight. But any stories that you think will be worth sharing?
What funny stories from what age? I've got my life's full of them.
Sort of like we'll start off from sort of like your teenage years, maybe early adolescence, maybe where you first discovered coke as well.
Oh, well, that bit. I've travelled Europe. I've done travel. I was saying then I was a 23-year-old. I was like a hired heavy. That's what I was. I used to travel. I used to look after people at 23-year-old. I was like 20 stone. I was unbeatable. I used to 23-year-old. I was in like London partying with Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones. That's the life I lived. But for like funny stories, but I've got that many funny stories. It's like unbelievable. As it look back. But some like mostly, a lot of sad stories, but funny ones. Like really funny.
So have you any, obviously you mentioned there with Mick Jagger, have you any kind of stories where you've had any funny encounters with any sort of celebrities, big personalities or anything like that?
Well, I'd say I used to go out with Tyson all the time. That was funny.
So obviously you noticed drink was quite prevalent. Yeah. Obviously we touched on coke being prevalent. I suppose it'd be rude not to ask. Have you any sort of significant or funny stories that you could share with us?
When I think of funny stories, I think it's like changing points in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I remember when I was boxing down at Moston and Colliers, and I was like, they were tipping me to be the best. We trained them Brian Hughes. He used to cut to me. He used to call me Dave. All right, come on, Dave. You can be the best. If you want to be the best, you can be champion. I said, my name's not Dave. It's Danny. And he used to go, Dave. And I went, it's not Danny. I thought, forget it. So anyway, I was training. I was absolutely fantastic. They used to call me the monster. I was really good. People come on here, people on the shows, and they go, I was the best boxer. I was good. I was very, very good. And we went watching Robin Reed versus Cal Froch. This is the end of my boxing career. Robin Reed versus Cal Froch in Nottingham. And we'd been up all night, me and my mate. About 5 of us went down. Ashley Peacock, remember him from Coronation Street? Right, so anyway, we all went down to Nottingham. And we're up all night. They went to bed and me and my mate stayed up all night doing whatever. And in the morning, I went downstairs, funny this. Went downstairs to the bar about 7:30 in the morning. And I went to order a drink, right? I went there, I went up to this bloke and I went, he said, instead of saying, can I have a drink? I couldn't speak. I went, and he looked at me and I couldn't get my words out for about 5 minutes. So afterwards, I had to pretend I was deaf. And he was looking at me like that, looking at me, and I went, and I couldn't do it. And I couldn't get me, honestly, my mate was laughing. And I couldn't get my words out. My mate said he's deaf. And that was the end of my boxing career. I never went back. No.
So how did you end up getting the drink in the end? Or
I had to pretend I was deaf. I couldn't talk. Honestly, that was so funny. Looking back, that was like my boxing career. I never went back to the gym. It was like I was interrupted by drink. Does that make sense?
No, massively. So given what you've told us there, Dan, I think it'd be fair to say you was an addict, whether you realised it then or not. So just to kind of put a bit of, because I'm sure there was a lot of our listeners who've resonated with my story over the years, who listened to this. And fully enough, we've never ever done a recovery story. So you're the first guest. We've always done it about another sort of narrative. But going back into the addict sort of thing, give us kind of a breakdown of what was a typical day that looked like when you was in that peak.
When I was drinking, like when I lived at home with ex-wife and kids, I could stop. You know what I mean? I could stop. I was drinking. I went on these massive binges, like 2-month binges every day. Drinking coke every day, and then stop. Do you know what I mean? So I could stop years ago. I remember this story once. I didn't have a drink for 18 months. Yeah, and I booked to go to Ibiza. Right, this is not normal. This is how I was. And I booked to go to Ibiza, and I made a will before I went to Ibiza. What kind of man does that? Because I didn't think I was going back. Because I didn't drink for 18 months. And a lot of people who drink, I get hear it all the time, is where they go, I've not had a drink for this long, and I've done well. And I made a will, and I went out with my missus, and I said, I made a will, because I'll come back. And they had to wave me off to the airport. Anyway, I didn't even go to Ibiza. I come home, I went to the airport, stayed at the airport, and I got off my head and come home. So I didn't even go to Ibiza. Do you know what I mean? But that's the sort of my thing as I was. That was looking back, they were in the easy days. That was like, I could do it then. I did have a problem, but there were massive problems for other people, but not to me, not as it grew up, as I got older and what I've gone through since then. Do you know what I mean?
So, because obviously you mentioned that you'd done 18 months.
18 months, yeah.
Because that's quite a long stretch, particularly for
someone who's
going to
lose everything. My ex-wife had enough, and that was it. That was my last straw. You know what I mean? If I carried on going, I was going, because I wasn't going on for days, I was going on binges, but a lot of people, misses who watch this, will go, yeah, that sounds like my fella. Going on these binges, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. When I was drinking and taking drugs, I didn't care. I wasn't going on for nothing. I wouldn't say that, nothing. If the house was on fire, I wouldn't have gone home. because I was in my own zone. I was out wherever I was, London, Marbella, doing what I was doing. I was not coming home. You know, I would disappear. You argue with me and I'm gone. That's how it was. And as I was for a lot of people, you know, you're always waiting for an argument so you can go out. And that was me. No, my ex-wife, I put for hell. Do you know what I mean? It's looking back, I would put for her. You know, I give her all she wanted. She had all the money she wanted. You know, I could always earn money. That was me. I played about me. I could always earn money. The rest of my life was bollocks. But I could always earn money. You know what I mean? I had my own haulage firm. I had 8 wagons running, you know, delivering cars. I could always earn money. Then I went bankrupt at 30-year-old. Who goes bankrupt at 30? So I got caught drink driving at 18, which don't happen. I went bankrupt at 30. You know, I shut my firm because I couldn't do it anymore because I was drinking. I was drink driving every day in my wagons. You know what I mean? Going driving to London. I had to do it though. I had no choice. Do you know what I mean? That was how it got me in the end. It got me good.
I mean, there's that age-old saying, isn't there, where the worst thing an addict can have is money.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who's always earning,
always
got substance, substance for the substance, as it were. I suppose going back to kind of like the addicts, you know, was there any sort of, I suppose it's a given, physical changes, but what would you say kind of like, so in fact, we'll go through both of them. What would you say kind of like when you was at your worst, what were the physical, mental changes you had? Yeah.
Oof. Have you seen a horror movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll think of that every morning. That's how bad it was. Do you know what I mean? I remember my missus, I remember my missus, you know when you finish with your relationship, you know, when my missus threw me out, my ex-wife threw me out, and she threw me out and she bin bagged me. Everything, right? And I even had stuff I didn't own. I didn't know I owned. So that's not when your relationship's gone. When you think, well, I didn't even know I had this. So she threw me out and I got a cottage, and that was my downfall. You know, losing your missus and I got a cottage by myself. That was like, wow, here we go. Strap yourself in because this is going to be a rough ride, this. And I drunk myself near to death. Oh, you know, over 5 years, I absolutely, you know what I mean? I should have shares in vodka, me, because I had no turning. But at first it was fun. Thought I'm single here, it's Christmas, you know, great, good looking lad, wheels me at feet, and then doesn't, and turns back round, then got me good.
So when you mentioned 5 years, was that just every day?
Every day,
straight?
drink driving every day, drinking every morning. So I won't call. I couldn't. People said to me, "Do you not get depressed?" I didn't get depressed. I got pissed. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't sitting there feeling depressed. So that I wasn't sitting there thinking I can't see my kids. I just got pissed. You know, got pissed and took girls out and whatever. But that's all I did. Got off my head that that's what I did. And, you know, I'm not proud of it, but that's how I cope with knowing that I was never going home to my family home again. You know, and that's what trigger a lot of people.
I think, well, definitely, because I think a lot of people who do sort of use alcohol are supposed to mask things and substances to mask things. That's why, because either something's gone on at home, you know, something's gone on in their lives. But the fact that kind of like, I suppose really, I mean, phrase herd of a dog, I suppose that's what you were doing. You were never getting to that hungover stage, were you?
Never.
Because you were just constantly...
No.
So what? Because obviously after so much consumption, even though you're a big guy and you know you can handle your vast amount of ale, when did you notice kind of like when were some medical issues? When
I used to get swelling in my stomach,
right.
And that's from a bad liver. You know, I used to get water in my stomach called ascites, and that's from a bad liver. And I was been in hospital 3 times with it. And then what they do, they go in and put a big needle in your stomach, drain it out. You know, so I've had that done 3 times. But the first time I went in and signed myself out. And they put a big needle in your stomach here and drain it. But I signed myself out. So where they put a needle in my stomach and they sew it up, you know, like stitched it up. I walked out the hospital because I signed myself out and it burst. And I had all this coming out on the car park, you know what I mean? And they had to rush me back in. That was the first time, you know, and then I stopped drinking, started again. Second time I went in, I was drinking at dinner times. I was in hospital getting done for alcoholism. I was sneaking out to the shop drinking at dinner times. That's how bad I was. That was how bad I was. You know what I mean? And then the third time nearly died.
Wow. So did any of the staff, did they know you were drinking?
No. The second time they did. They had a suspicion because I walked out fed up and come back in happy.
Doesn't seem to be getting better.
No,
this
yeah,
guy.
he's happy. Look, he's made a good recovery, hasn't he? But yeah, but that's what I was. That was how I was like. Yeah. You know, and the third time when I went in, obviously we'll talk about it in the future. And that's when I was nearly a picture on a fireplace. You know what I mean?
So did kind of like, because obviously the antics, the telltale signs of an addict, you know, you're sneaking off to go and get beer, you're sort of, you know, potentially sort of misleading people. Did you know at the time you had a problem?
I knew since I was 21, but I just thought I was in this, you know, all the people going to work. you know, fitting tires or, you know, or cleaning windows. I wasn't. I was had this other lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like driving Ferraris at weekends and flying to Marbella and driving around in Rolls Royces with tax in the Porsche. You know, like, you know, that's what we were doing. That's my lifestyle. But I could always earn money. You know, drinking, you know, taking drugs, but that was all right. And then it took its toll, didn't it? You know, I've got pictures. I look at pictures on my phone from when I was 30. I was wrecked at 30. I was absolutely wrecked. And then I could see myself. I look at pictures. I can't remember anything in the past. I don't remember happy times. I've got a block on my mind. I remember unhappy times, but my mind is not. I can't remember anything. The kid says to me, "Oh, you remember this, Dad?" I can't remember anything. They tell me. You know, my son says to me the other day, I work 2 days a week on a building site with my son just because I find it happy. You know, talk about happiness. He says to me, "Do you not remember that time when you used to come in off your head and you couldn't see?" I used to come in off my head and I couldn't see. I was that bad. You know, and I had to get into read messages out on my phone. And I can't remember that.
Yeah.
You know, but that's, you know, if you think of that, so your son said that to your 17-year-old. And I was the same age when he worked on the door as him. I used to come in some states, me. I mean, terrible states. You know, and that they took its toll mentally. They take your toll.
I mean, it's one of those, you're not living in the moment. Even though you are living in the moment, you're not of rational thought, I have same mind. So, like you mentioned, the memories that
I can't remember
don't
anything.
exist.
If someone says to me, someone put me in office and said, "What do you do? What can you remember that?" I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
I remember the bad bits. You know, I remember when I like told you about when I got sectioned. I remember that to a T. Everything that happened, the lead up to it. I can't remember what holiday I went on 2 years before. A nice holiday we went on the beach. I can't remember anything like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, that's just. But I'm lucky to be alive. So you have to give and take some things, don't you?
Oh no, massively. I mean, we'll go back onto this, the getting sectioned story in a moment. What would you say on average, Dan? How much alcohol was you consuming a day at this point?
Look at me smile. I don't even know why I'm smiling. It's like Guinness World Record, isn't it? I used to work. This is my morning. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They used to have Blue Moon. Remember that? I don't know if you had a drink Blue Moon. You put
I've actually never tasted it, but I know what it is.
You used to have 5 pints of that. 4 o'clock. This is my morning, right? So I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I drunk from 4 till 5. I used to watch Bullseye. Yeah, Blue Moon. Right, 6 pints. 4 till 5, 5 till 6. Chasing classic cars. Yeah, lager then. Another 6 cans. That's 12 cans in 2 hours. 12 pints. Then vodka from GMTV. From 6 till 9, and then 9 till 11 wine. So before even 11 o'clock in the morning, I had half a bottle of vodka, 12 cans and 2 bottles of wine. Before 11 o'clock in the morning. And then went back to bed, and then used to go back to bed thinking, I hope I sleep all day. I want to sleep all day. I want to wake up tonight at 7 o'clock, feel great, and I won't have to drink again. And I used to wake up at 1 o'clock, straight to the pub, driving, boom, drinking all day. Routine like that. 2 years, boom, boom. You know what I mean? That was what my life was. It was dark. It was horrible.
I love how you've used to put a bit of a light spin on it to sort of what shows were on daytime TV to remember.
And I never watched them since. I never watched Bullseye. I could never listen to it. Oh, Chasing Classic Cars. Can never do it. If it comes on, I turn it off.
Much back.
Yeah, I like Jim TV. Yeah. But the other two, that's what I used to do. Is wake up being sick, physically sick, look at mirror, look at my eyes, how yellow they were. Fucking hell, you don't look good today, Danny. And that was my life. Carried it on.
I mean, obviously, I appreciate you sharing all this.
Yeah, I don't mind if I can help people. Yeah. Do you know, like, look at me now. The people say, you can't be like that. I was like that. I was the worst. I wouldn't like to say I was the worst you've ever been, but I was, honestly, one of the worst I've ever met. And, you know, like, people say, well, how did you come back from this? How did you do that?
I think, well, obviously, you know, towards the end, we'll tie into what it is you do now and giving back and what have you, and how you know, you've come to be here before me. Just going back, so sort of like looking at consequences, going back to the, you mentioned there about getting sectioned. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about that
well, yeah, this is another one. This typical Danny, this. Booked to go to Florida, brought my mum over from the Isle of Man, Florida for 2 weeks, cost me a lot of money. Take the kids, should be a fantastic holiday, shouldn't it? Brilliant. But I don't think I had a drink for 8 months. So for this Florida, we were going, me, my missus, 3 kids, my mum. Absolutely, everything perfect, wasn't it? Anyway, before the minibus come and get us at 4 o'clock, something stupid come in my mind. Get a bag of Coke and make you happier. Because don't forget, with people who are fed up or whatever, or, you know, they've all got this addiction. And I thought, if I get a bit of Coke, it'll make me happier too. When I go to the airport now, I'll be happier going, I'm going to Florida. Do you know what I mean? Something in my mind did it. Got a bag of Coke. That night, stayed at the airport hotel. My son come down at 4 o'clock in the morning, caught me buying a bottle of wine at 4 o'clock in the morning. Holiday ruined. Dream holiday, this, yeah? Cost me a lot of money. On the plane, my miss said to Earl, said, don't serve him, he's an alcoholic. That's what she shouted out. Don't serve him, he's an alcoholic. So we flew to Florida, Second day, I was all right, not bad. Drove to the shop to get my mum some beers, come back in the hire car, crashed the hire car, sober. This started my oldest, sober, crashed the hire car, police looking for me, I had to hide my car. Holiday ruined. And then, so then drinking, mum and dad didn't speak to me, drinking, ended up going to the HUD in Florida with this bloke in the car, got some cocaine, don't know what it was. I haven't got a clue to this day what it was. Sent me mad. Absolutely sent me mad. I was swimming in you know, like pools with crocodiles and, you know, like reeds, you know what they're called in America?
Yeah.
Helicopters looking for me. You know, that's how bad I was. I tried flying to Colombia. Don't know why. My head.
Probably have an inkling about you've got
But I know, but I woke up in the hospital. I was on a family holiday. Woke up in the hospital, cut my eye. So I don't know if someone knocked me out, but I got kept in for 24 hours. Cost me 6,000 quid to get out. You know, and I had concussion bad from that. My mum sent me home, flew home on the plane. They let me on. I was pissed, but they let me on. I fell asleep in the aisle. You know the aisle where you push trolleys up. I fell asleep on there for 9 hours. They couldn't move me. This on the plane. Went home. I'd still had this concussion. Went and stayed at my granddad's because I wasn't right. Woke up at the middle of the night. This is scary, this. Woke up at the middle of the night. Looked out my granddad's window. I could see 20 black blokes in the back garden. And I thought, wow. I went, Granddad, I said, there's 20 black blokes in the garden. He went, no, there's not. I said, look. I said, you can see them there. This is a story you'll listen to. I said, look, the 20. He said, there's no one there. I said, you're going mad, Granddad. Look at them all. He went, who do you think it is? The Supremes. Joking. I went, no, there is. So I'm banging on the window, going, get out. He rang the police. Police come and got me. Ambulance took me away. Went in the hospital, put me on a drip. Yeah, I escaped from the hospital. Went and got some more coke off a lad outside. Took me around. Police started looking for me then. So I was at my granddad's. I'm going to my mates. Mates not going because I'm well known about it. Danny, we just seen him here, just seen him there. Anyway, they found me anyway. Went home. They found me. Thought somebody in the loft. Nobody in the loft. Got neighbours in the loft. Everything. They caught me on the street with a samurai sword. I've still got pictures now. They got tasing me. They didn't tase me, but they had a taser on me. 25 police, Arthurberry's police on me. Took me to hospital. Locked me up for night. You know, they put me on the bed. Anyway, put me on the bed. He said, why have you got 2 watches on? That's how they knew I was doing, because you don't wear 2 watches, do you? I went, because someone's in my house. Went, right. So they sectioned me for a week. So they put me into Stockport. I mean, don't forget, my missus and the kids and my mum are still in Florida having a great time. Thinking, where's Danny now? So someone rang up, we sectioned him. So they're all going, well, you know, we might never get Danny back. This fantastic man Danny is, we might never get him back. So they locked me up for a week. And that was really how my marriage finished. You know what I mean? You couldn't get back from that.
No.
You know, that was, and they locked me up for a week. After 2 days, I was all right. But they kept me, and they kept me for a week.
So was the sectioning, was that kind of like
Psychosis?
Yeah. So was that sort of like the definitive moment of where you sorted, you wanted to sort yourself out?
No.
Or was that just...
It wasn't my time.
No.
That was it. I carried on. That wasn't my time.
So talk us through that transition where you've got out of being institutionalised to relapsing and going back to old ways.
Well, that was it happened, didn't it? You carried on. You know, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. You know, to be honest, I wasn't. Unfortunately, you know, living a home life, you know, it wasn't enough for me. I don't think. You know what I mean? Looking back now, I wish I was.
Yeah.
But at the time, it wasn't enough. You know, I had everything, but I didn't have anything. If that makes sense, I wanted something more. So, but in the end, when it came down to it, drinking drugs took over me.
Yeah.
You know, going out. She said, my ex-wife said, you go out, you never come back. I went out. You know what I mean? I went out. I didn't care. I can't change the past. I wish I could, but I can't.
Yeah. No.
And I used to go out, and that was it. And then, you know, come down. She threw me out, put all my stuff in bin lines. I didn't even know I had. Do you know what I mean? Then you know you're finished. Got this cottage, and that was me. Then lights out.
So what was kind of like? So obviously, you know, I suppose getting institutionalized, sectioned, as it were. Normally that would kind of like stop someone from drinking. You've carried on. What was that definitive moment to where you decided enough's enough and then became?
Well, I went to rehab after that.
Okay.
You thought that should show you out, shouldn't it?
Well, yeah.
I went to rehab, walked in, my mates dropped me off, 5 of my pals, go and get in there. Thought it was a day out, didn't I? Come in drunk, I went in gormless. Dropped me off, waved me off. Thought, this is all right, I'll get through this. Pay 6,000 quid, I'll get through this, no problem. Went in drunk, 3 o'clock in the morning when you're getting sober. Wow. I've had some scary times. That was scary. You know, I've had a nurse rubbing me back saying everything's going to be all right, and I'm being sick, and I'm thinking, what have I done to my body? all them times I could have stopped drinking and I stopped. Why am I in this? You know, I had this bloke, he must have been 8 stone, and he was my saviour. You know, he was rubbing me back saying, you're going to be all right. And I thought I was going to die coming off the drink in this place in Preston. And I thought, you know, I was saying, please keep me alive. That's how bad it was. You know, these people think you can walk into rehab and come out. You can't. You know what I mean? It's not that easy, rubbing me back. And I went there for 2 weeks. After 4 days, I thought it was right. You know, I signed myself out. After 4 days or 5 days. I went straight to the off license. Got a taxi, went to the off license. He walked in on a Sunday morning. Asian bloke, he said to me, we don't serve beer till 11. I said, here's 20 quid. I said, I'm having something. Put 20 quid on, got 5 cans, I got a taxi, went home. And it started again. Back to this cottage. I thought everything would be all right. Wasn't drinking again. You know what I mean?
I think just with mentioning rehab there, I know so many people personally, and then, you know, people who have read about where rehab never worked for them. And is this could obviously being someone who's been there? Is it?
But rehab, you can do it yourself. Yeah. I stopped all these times. You can do it yourself. If you can do it here, you can do it. That's what I try and tell people I help. You don't need to go to rehab. You know, you can do it. If you've got willpower, you can do it yourself. I mean this, you can do it. Because I walked out of rehab. So if you can walk out, you don't need to go, do you? Yeah. You know, if you just stop being, don't be weak and be, all them times I look back, I could have stopped. But I started again. It's all part of not starting again. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, I've tried it, I've been to rehab. You know, I've done it. And it didn't work for me because I was Big Dan. I wanted to leave. And if I wanted to do something, I'll do it. You're not keeping me here. If I want to go home, I want to go home. Yeah.
So what was the kind of definitive moment? You mentioned though you did it yourself. What from what you remember, when was it? Because obviously you've gone through all this. Yeah. You've relapsed countless times. You know, your relationships have ended. I'm sure friendships have ended along the way. What was that definitive moment that was like, right, that's it. I'm stopping now. I'm stopping drinking.
Right. This story. Drunk in Bury, driving home, went in Indian takeaway. Bloke said to me, I ordered a kebab, and he said to me, excuse me, mate, your eyes are yellow. I said, what? I didn't even know him. I said, what? He said, your eyes are yellow. I said, all right. I didn't even know the fella. He didn't have to tell me that. Drove home, had my kebab, woke up in the morning, went to the cricket club across the road. I was barred from all the pubs around. So I went to the cricket club. He used to bring me drinks out to go outside. And my mate said, your eyes are yellow. Woke up next day. I knew I was going to die that day. I knew it. I was going to die that day. I woke up and I thought, I'm going to fucking die today. Wow. Now, you know, it gives me goosebumps now. I thought, I'm going to die. What do? I thought, I know what I'm going to do. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to have a drink, aren't I? So same thing, got pissed. Had about 8 cans of beer, 3 vodkas or whatever it was. And I thought, I'm going to go die. I'm going to have to go to the hospital. I'm going to die. Yeah. Stomach out here like this, being sick, quitting time is releases, absolute fucking wreck I was. I'm telling you now, I was a wreck. And I thought, right, I'm going to have to go to hospital. So I got to hospital. I thought, well, joined the hospital. I thought, well, I need some more beer to go to hospital. Stopped, got 8 cans of beer, drinking them. I was driving. Don't forget, I've already had about 8 cans, vodka and half a bottle of wine or whatever. Driving to hospital, drinking beer. Being sick, spewing blood up. I thought, I need to carry on. So every time I pulled up, being spit, blood, all this stuff, walked in the hospital after like 18, 19 cans of beer, whatever it was, the vodkas. And she went, they knew me anyway. And she went, Danny, you're a funny colour. I said, I've been on sunbed. She said, that's not the sunbed, darling. She went, get in here. And they put me in this little ward with her, like, where they keep an eye on you, with all the kids they go in we can't breathe. And so there's all these kids in a line here, like in the beds, and me with my toes hanging out. Like if you would have seen it, it's like sort of a carry-on film, you know what I mean? Carry-on matron. And I walked in anyway, they put me upstairs, and I was going to die. I was dying. I was yellow. My eyes were yellow. My stomach was like this. And I was on that bed ready to die. And that's how close I was.
So what? Well, I suppose the next thing. What happened next?
What happened next?
Because you didn't die.
They couldn't drain my stomach because my blood was too thin. My blood wasn't clotting because my liver wasn't working. Bloke walked past me and said, only half your liver's working. And he just went like, shook his head. And he ran his kid's school up. Said, your dad's going to die tonight. You're not going to see him. That was true. No, but I didn't know this until I started speaking to my kids again. He's going to die tonight. You're not going to see him. So my lad was prepared to come up and see me. Dying. My own son was outside the hospital fitting windows on the hospital when I was dying inside. He didn't want to come see me because I'd been a bastard. You know what I mean? Like, over the years, I've not been a perfect dad, and I was going to die. And they pumped me full of stuff to try and make me blood clot, just because they couldn't drain my stomach. And I was orange, my eyes were orange, and I was dying. And that's how close I was to dying. I mean that.
And then how did you get sort of resuscitated from that? What was
Well, because they cared for me. These nurses cared for me. And, you know, they care, and the doctor cared for me because I'm a good person. You know, they knew I'm a good person. It's just, with alcohol, he just got hold of me. But they knew it, and they put extra effort into me. I believe, to me, they put extra effort, and there's someone up there looking down at me, and I pulled through. Do you know what I mean? But I was ill. I'm sure you'll show pictures on this. You can have pictures on. I was physically ill. I was that far from dying. You know what I mean? To ring your kid's school up. And I was ill. I was, I couldn't even move. My stomach was this big. And anyway, they filmed me all this fun. They were all watching me. I remember saying that, only half your liver's working, Daddy. And and I'm there like that, and I couldn't do anything. And my feet were massive. And God, I was ill. I was bollocks. So luckily, they pumped all this stuff, and they could drain my stomach. And they took 14 or 15 litres of fluid out my stomach. Think of that. 7 bottles of Coke out my stomach. Of pure shit that my liver won't do. Think of that.
Well, so kind of like they've got you to a point where they've stabilised you. How long are you in hospital? Talk us through kind of like the recovery
I was in
process.
hospital. I thought I was all right, but I said, I thought I was all right. Can I just go? You can't walk there. I went, and I thought I was all right, and I got up. You know what I mean? I was like wrecked. I was absolutely physically wrecked. Couldn't even have a shave. I put the pictures on, and all my hair was funny, and I couldn't even have a shave. I was orange, and it was a blur. If I look back, it's a blur. I can't tell you exactly what happened, but it was just a blur. Do you know what I mean? But I was like very, very close than you can get.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But what I was drinking, I should have died ages ago.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I was absolutely. I had everything. I look back now, and I had everything. All the things. I was dying for like weeks before. Do you know what I mean? This was in the January, in the Christmas before, like 3 weeks before, I was supposed to go to Barbados. I was going out with a girl, right? I was supposed to go to Barbados with her on the 10th of December, but I knew I was ill then. So it was I've been up drinking all night with her. And then in the morning, we were supposed to get picked up at 6 o'clock to go to Barbados, me and this girl. And at 5 o'clock, I thought to myself, I'm not going on this holiday because I know I'm not going back. I knew it. So 6 o'clock comes, I said, right. I said, ran my mate up. I said, pick me up. Pick me up. Why? I said, you going to Barbados? He said, no, pick me up. So I said to this girl, I said, taxi's here. And I got my bag, jumped in my mate's car, and drove off. Never seen her again. And I went home. And she thought she was going to Barbados. Never spoke to her again. Because I knew if I was going to Barbados, I wasn't going to come. I was going to come in a box. And I physically knew then. That was about 3 weeks before, 4 weeks before.
4 weeks before. So when you've kind of like, obviously you mentioned though that your memory's a bit vague with it. What's kind of like what you do remember of kind of getting yourself clean and sober from sort of hospital back to
I look at photos.
Normality?
I can look at photos on my phone and go, I was all right then. Wreck. All right then. Wreck. All right then. And but since I come out of hospital, I remember I used to. It's mad this. I took pictures of my eyes because my eyes were yellow, and that was a big warning point for me. So I've got these photos in my phone of like every day, 4 pictures a day on my eyes because I was obsessed with my eyes being yellow. You know what I mean?
And do you notice over time the
got better.
The colours?
Yeah, but you can look at one wing mirror. I'll tell you this before. I had to sell it. I had a Range Rover. I had to sell it because my eyes looked yellow in the Range Rover wing mirror. I sold it. It drove me mad. But I had pictures of my skin, Googling everything, under a liver specialist, everything. I battled for 9 months, battled every day to get healthy because I wanted to live. You know what I mean? I went through the worst battle. Talk about fight. People come on these things and talk about fighting and stuff. I don't talk about that. It's not me. I'm talking the biggest battle in your life is staying alive. I'm telling you now, when you're in my position. And for 9 months, I battled every day to give it the best shot to stay alive.
And you're here to tell a story.
I'm here now, and I have battled. It's not been easy. It's been hell. You know what I mean? I would rather go. They say all these things. 10 rounds, Mike Tyson. That would have been easy. Do you know what I mean? Running up Kilimanjaro or swimming the Atlantic Ocean. That would have been easy for me to do. No, that's easy. But staying alive when you've been nearly dead like me, fighting an addiction, yeah, still living by yourself, yeah, lonely. That is the biggest battle in the world. I understand why people do drink. I understand. And people who come to me who drink don't come to me because they're happy. They come to me because they're going to lose everything. And they come to me and say, Danny, I need your help because we have seen what you've achieved. How would you do it? Because I'm going to lose everything like you are, like you did. And if you lose your missus and your kids, you're bollocks. So fight, do everything you can to stay at home.
So in between kind of like, you're relapsing and so this is kind of like we're coming back away from you coming into recovery and where you're at now. Obviously you mentioned that you was always earning. Uh, what was it like kind of going in and out of work during that time?
Wow. I used to get pissed. Right, I used to be pissed. I used to go for jobs pissed. I used to go because I knew that it used to be a game for me. I used to go for job interviews pissed, and because knowing that they knew that I wasn't drunk. Do you know what I mean? I went for about 30 jobs one year and got every one of them. And when it's supposed to turn up, I never turned up.
Yeah.
But I went to job interviews pissed. I remember I went for this one job, driving a skip place in driving a skip in Blackburn, and I got there, right, and I've only been out with a bloke for half a day, and he pulled me in. He said, "You pissed, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he breathalyzed me at 11 o'clock in the morning. I was 3 times over the limit. 3 times. He said, "Come back." Fair play to the fella. He said, "Come back tomorrow." I said, "I can't." To be honest, mate, I said, "I can't come back." I got a job for the water board. I got sacked for being drunk. And next day, they brought me in for a bollocking, in the room. And I went back to the interview about me being pissed the day before. Pissed. Because I had to drink. This is what I'm trying to say. I had to drink. You couldn't stop me drinking. When I went to go to work, because I did go to work. When I went to go to work, I had to get up an hour and a half before work to get pissed.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? So I used to set me get up for 6. I set it for 4:30. And I used to get pissed just enough so I could go to work. And I did go to work. For waterboard. I've had a few jobs. Well, I was pissed. I working on the roads down Gloucester, but I didn't do any work. I was just pissed all the time. Going into Tesco at dinner times, and having 8 cans of, gin and tonic in the toilets quickly, about in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and going to work. I was just pissed all the time. That's how my life was.
Yeah.
But I got away with it. Do you know what I mean? I always got away with being pissed.
Was that just because you've got kind of like one of those big personalities?
Big personalities.
Where people just could
Yeah,
have,
yeah, but I used to think, oh, Danny's bubbly, isn't he? But I was just pissed.
Yeah.
I'm not being proud. I wish I could change it, but I was just pissed all the time.
Yeah.
I've had over 15 crashes, me pissed. But never hurt anybody, never run into anybody. I drove from village and run into a chicken shed. Drunk and it wrote my car off and all chickens a bit flying everywhere. But everyone knows me in the village is that bloke who drove into that chicken shed. And my car was full of feathers. Do you know what I mean? That's how it was. So I try and put a bit of a light on it, not the, a bit of a light, that you can get better. But I have got times where, I'll hold up my hands and say, I was ridiculous.
I think one of the conversations where you mentioned, I know you use photos now, don't you? So were there any photos that you've seen of yourself that are obviously the legitimate photos, but you just don't remember it because you were that intoxicated?
Loads. Oh, yeah, I met Muhammad Ali. I've got a picture of him. Can't remember it.
You don't remember meeting him?
I know I met Mike Tyson, nearly had a fight with him.
Do
you know, he threatened to bite my nose off in Blackpool.
Uh.
Do you know what I mean? That's. I've got a room at home, a boxing room with all my pictures. I've got pictures of Mayweather, all the best ones in the world. And people say, what's it like meeting him? Can't remember. I've got a picture of Muhammad Ali. What's it like meeting him? I met him, I can't remember. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. You know what I mean? The amount of money I spent a lot of money. Over years, spent a lot of money. I can't remember nothing.
Oh.
Except the bad bits.
Yeah.
I can remember the bad bits, like that. You know what I mean? I drove to Bristol once in my wagon when I had my own haulage firm. And I drove down the street pissed, right? And I wrote 6 cars off. And I had to park on a car park in Bristol with 5 brand new cars on, thinking, I have to get home here. And the police are after me. Do you know what I had to do? I had to drink to get home. And I would have got 8 years in prison for that, but I had to do it. I had no choice. It was not, if I could drink, I could drink. You know what I mean? That's how bad it was in my mind. I could get away with it. I was like untouchable. I was like Mr. Teflon. Do you know what I mean? I could drive every day. And luckily, I never got caught. Luckily, never got caught.
Well, that's very lucky, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not proud of it, but that's just how I was. When you're an alcoholic, functioning alcoholic, you have to drink. It's all right people saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be drinking. You have to do it. I had to do it. I had to, if I had to meet people or in the afternoons at 3 o'clock, people I didn't know, I had to tell them in the morning, I had to tell them I'd been to a funeral, that day. Because if I smelled the beer that day. So in 1 year, I must have gone to 340 funerals. Because, you know what I'm saying? If I turned up for a job interview or meet somebody and they smelled beer, I had to pretend I was at a funeral. So I said, I've got a funeral at 12, now come meet you. I'll come to the interview. That's what I did. I did all. I was very clever. I was the cleverest drinker in the world. You know what I mean? You should put him like drinking mind if it was mastermind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I had, because I had 2 jobs, drinking, working.
So kind of so we'll flip-flop a little bit here. So obviously going back to kind of like your recovery sort of thing. Talk us through that, because I mean, how many days sort of clean are you now?
17th of January, so nearly 2 years.
2 years.
17th of January. I remember I could never, a lot of drinkers will find this, you know, they all say, I wish I could get down to this amount. And I could only ever get to 4 cans. Yeah, 4 cans. I could only get to 4 cans. I could never get under 4 cans. So it was like a mindset. So it was one night I got down to, don't forget, when I come out of hospital nearly dying, I was drinking again.
Yeah.
I come out drinking. I didn't stop in the hospital. I had to carry on a little bit. So I have to come out nearly dying. That should be enough for me, shouldn't it? Wasn't enough for Danny. I had to drink a little bit just to wean myself off. So I couldn't get under 4 cans. There's one night I got to 3.5 cans. And that was me. My drinking career finished. You know what I mean? 30-year drinking career had done within that, you know, that 17th of January 2022. 2023 it was.
Yeah, 2012. Well, congratulations on that. You know, I think that's something to be proud of. So you mentioned the sort of weaning. So was that it? Just one night you had the 3.5 cans?
Drinking's all in the mind, you know that, don't you? I went to the pub the other day and I used to drink with my mate every day for years, right? And he sat there. This is how a drinker's mind thinks. He sat there with him and he had 2 pints. It was 3 o'clock. I walked up and met him. And he went to me, Danny, I still can't get my head around how you stopped. How did you stop? You're the worst I've ever seen. How did you stop? What is the secret? He's only had 2 pints. He could have had that second pint and walked home. In the mind, he can't. It's all in the mind. And I looked at him and I thought, what are you on about? If you don't want to drink, you don't have to drink. You've had 2 pints at 3 o'clock, you're lucky. Go home. But he couldn't get his head around how I stopped. How I was the worst of the worst. You know, people will see me saying, Danny's dying. You know, Danny's dying. Everyone told me, you're dying. I can't die. I'm Big Dan. You know what I mean? I'm better than that. And I was.
So with regards to, so obviously you touched on there being like a drinker's mind. Was there any kind of things you put in play? Like some people put like little things in place, like goals, or they might have, say, like when they're weaning themselves off, they might have a dry night, a wet night, dry night, wet, and then that goes 2 dry nights, 1 wet night sort of thing. Yours, obviously, with the cans. Was there any sort of tactics you implemented for yourself?
What when you're drinking or when you're coming off?
When you're weaning it,
when you're weaning off, I just wanted to be normal. I wanted to be a normal person. I wanted to get in my car and drive down that road and not be pissed. Yeah. Not worried about what car's behind me. That's all I wanted. I wanted to see my kids again. You know what I mean? Because going through all this, I didn't see my kids. Because, fair enough, fair play, I was pissed. I want to see my kids. And I wanted to get a relationship, a proper relationship. Have you ever tried dating when you're sober? It's the hardest thing in the world. I mean, being an alcoholic, and not stop drinking and then start dating is the hardest thing in the world. Because you go and if you meet girls, right, they say to you, why don't you drink? It should be the easiest thing in the world, shouldn't it? And you go, why don't you drink? And then you're trying to cover your tracks, saying, you can't tell me you're an alcoholic, can you? You're dating somebody. You can't say, well, I'm an ex-alcoholic. So you have to pretend that you don't like drink. And if you don't like drinking, girls go, oh, why don't you like drinking? And every girl that you meet, right, has always had an ex-boyfriend, an ex-husband who's been a drinker. Yeah. So if you try and meet a girl and you say you're an ex-drinker, they don't have you. So I just had to pretend. I used to go, I just want a normal life. I just say, I don't like drink. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for ages. I don't like it. And that's the hardest thing in the world, trying to pretend that you're not an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. It's hard because it always sets you off in bad stead. Do you know what I mean? Because no girl said, I met a new bloke, really nice fella, big, tall, handsome lad, but he used to be an alcoholic. Oh, that's a no-go, isn't it? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's all like getting into sobriety, meeting people, trying, and getting your thing down.
Did you ever do like AA, alcohol?
I went to AA, but I went for the wrong reasons.
Right.
I went to try and save my marriage. Yeah. It didn't go for me. I went because my missus said, you better go and sort yourself out. My mum went phone and I said, I'm stopping drinking, mum. Stopping drinking. We've heard it all before, Danny. I'm going to AA. Oh, well, you might be trying to stop now. Oh, well, you might be, yeah. Danny's going to AA. Oh, he's trying now, isn't he? Not just like on a Monday or Tuesday, like, oh, rough in bed. Oh, he's trying. That's all the reason why I went.
Well, exactly, because you've got to go there. Because you mentioned there about the dating scenario. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people who are in recovery. They end up finding a relationship with someone who's also in recovery, don't they? So I just didn't know.
I didn't know. I couldn't. No. I've never
found romance today.
No. There's plenty more out there, and I don't want to find another Big Dan.
I'm sure. So let's. You're at a place now where you're sober. 2 years.
Fantastic! What an amazing time.
And are you in that mindset now where you never revert back?
Never. Why would I want to do that?
Totally overcome that.
I love my life. I'm the happiest man in the world, and I push this on people that I help. People come and see me. They want to come and see me because I'm real life. Yeah. They go. I read it up the other day on on the internet. Become a counsellor. Pay £700. Become a counsellor. You don't need any experience. How can you be a counsellor and not have an experience? It's like trying to learn something to catch a fish and never caught a fish yourself. The people come to me because they know I've done it. So people come to me with these problems and go, Danny, I've got a problem. I say, you haven't got a problem. That's not a problem. Listen to me. I've had a problem. Oh, you're weak. Don't be weak. Keep your family together. Stay with your kids. Don't let somebody else bring your kids up, because that's what happens. You're a bad husband, you're a drinker, you're a bad dad, somebody else will bring your kids up. Yeah, that's what happens. Women get fed up, they fire you off, right? So just don't do what I've done. I'm lucky to have been there. So I make friendships with my people that I see, and I'm very, very, very busy because people want to hear my story. You know what I mean? And that's a gift I've got. But it's a gift that nearly killed me.
Yeah. But it's a gift that you're channeling now into something that's beneficial. But I was obviously you touched on there briefly about the counselling. So when was it kind of like, was it just a case of people were coming to you before you sort of, did the counselling that you're doing now?
No,
or?
I went, they put me under a specialist for my liver, right? Specialist for my liver. So I went twice. So I went in the middle of last year, and then I went in September last year. And I went in this, he was called Dr. Kaya, he was in Salford. And I walked in here and I said to the woman behind the desk, I went, what's his first name? She went, you can't call him his first name. He's a professor. I said, what's his? So she wouldn't tell me. So I walked in and I said, what's your first name? He went, Clint, he was called. He's a Zimbabwe fella. So I went, listen, tell me straight. He said, what do you want to hear, Danny? What do you want to hear? I said, I want to hear that you never want to see me again. Give me them words. He said, I don't want to see you again. You made a recovery. He said, but I'm going to give you a blood test every 6 months, a scan on your liver every 12 months. I don't want to see you again, but I'm going to keep an eye on you. And I walked out there and I went straight to the internet man and I set up Talk to Big Dan straight away, because I thought I can't give advice to people if I'm got an illness, if I'm not well. I can't say, well, I'm not well, but I'll try and help you. I come out of there with a clean bill of health. And I thought I'm going to make people listen to me. You can listen to me because I've been there and done it. Do not do what I've done. That's what my motto is. Don't do what Big Dan would have done. Don't do it. I can help you. Only you can help yourself, but I can help you. I'm right behind you as a friend and somebody I'll see. You know what I mean? So that's why I set up Talk to Big Dan, because I've done it all.
Yeah. I think it's that, I've always said that kind of like, obviously, addiction ties in, well, I'm going to say it ties in nicely, but it ties in seamlessly with sort of like the mental health. And it used to, obviously, everyone seems to jump on the mental health bandwagon at the minute. Being someone who's suffered with it myself, with depression, you need those people who've got those lived experiences.
Yeah.
Because if you're speaking to someone with a clipboard and pen who've never had a bad day in their life sort of thing, or certainly not to that level, they're not going to be able to advise you. So I totally agree, and I'm on board.
I read people when they come, and I can read people as soon as they turn up. I do celebrities. Obviously I can't name names, but I read people and I know their situations. They're going to lose everything. That's why they come and see me, because the missus had enough. They've been caught on dating websites. They've been done this. They've been drinking secretly. What happens? A lot of people, they're drinking too much. The missus say to them, "You're drinking too much. You're stopping now this week." So what happens then? They drink secretly. It's just a game. I know all about it. You're not drinking, so they go to the pub. They have 2 pints after work. Then they walk the dog. They have 3 cans. Starts going drinking secretly. That's what it starts. Because the missus said you're not drinking anymore. So they start drinking secretly, and then they drink more and more, and they just come to me. That's how it come in the end. You know what I mean? Like I say, they don't come to me because they want to chat. They come to me because they're going to lose everything. And I read them all. And it's just, they need somebody who's been there and done it.
Do you think you found your purpose now?
Yes, 1,000%.
Is that what it is? So your purpose maybe once upon a time was just getting annihilated.
Yeah, but don't forget, death nearly brought this to me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. I like say I'm going to write a book because I've got that many stories. I can't fit them in on this. But 2 people come to me and say, "Do you want to write a book?" And what I'm going to call it is from year to year. Right? Because every Christmas Day you sit down, don't you? And you go, "What's happened this year? What's happened this year from year to year?" That's what I'm going to call it. So like from one year I was nearly dead. So next year, I've just come back from Hollywood. You know what I mean? America doing a film. And I'm a counsellor. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to call my book from year to year, because you sit down every Christmas, don't you, and go, what have you achieved this year? I've come from death, from hospital to Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? In 1 year. And for me, that bloke, that big yellow fella who was drinking bottles of vodka every day, driving every day, spewing up blood, not seeing your kids for 5 years, for what I've achieved is absolutely totally amazing. You know what I mean? I'm going to say nobody's achieved what I've done. I'm telling you now, the states I've been in, people come to me and go, "You're incredible." I don't call myself incredible, but what I've achieved is absolutely amazing. And I want to push this on to people. You can do it, but don't be weak, because weakness kills. weakness does kill. You know what I mean?
Well, obviously, we'll tie in all the links for anyone who wants to get in touch with yourself on social media or the Big Dan website. I just want to touch on the your stellar acting career, because I know you've recently just been. Whereabouts in America was it?
I went to Charlotte, and then I went to Nashville.
Okay, nice.
And I went to Gracelands, which was my ambition. But I was supposed to go when I was 40. I was dying. Yeah, and I didn't go. My best friend I was supposed to go with, I had it all booked to go to Gracelands. My king, the Elvis. My mate, sadly, 5 months ago, died of alcoholism, my best friend. And at the time, I couldn't fly. I was ill. But I've just had a VIP guided tour at Gracelands by myself. And me and this other person who took me, a famous actress, took me for a VIP tour at Gracelands. I've been to America, just done a series, playing a cowboy, flying private jets. I've just lived a life that I couldn't even wish for. No, don't forget, 17 months ago, I was in hospital, yellow, nearly dying. And 17 months after the same day, I was flying in a private jet. That's what you can achieve if you want to. Sobriety.
And like we touched on at the start, and obviously when I asked you what does challenge mean to you, it just goes to show that you've got these roles because of who you are, your personality, your character. So you didn't need the alcohol to
No,
bring
I didn't,
out.
but it's just something that. But I used to act. I used to do acting pissed as well. I used to do it pissed as well. But I can hide it. I was an actor in all ways. Do you know what I mean? But then I've just played. Everything's funny because everything I played in TV programs, I've done in real life. I played a mental health patient the other week in a film. And I've been that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've done everything there is. I played heavies in film. I've been in heavy. I've done everything. I've played a landlord. I've never been a landlord, but I've given plenty of money. Do you know what I mean? I've sponsored them. But it's like your life is a big turnaround. But you have to want it, or you have to be lucky. And I was lucky, but now I want it. Does that make sense?
No, it's good. It's a real full circle story.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing. Like you said, I mean, obviously, podcast. I think writing a book will be the best option for you.
I watch these podcasts, but they're on about a fight and how many eyes you've lost this week. And, I'm not into that. I can tell stories. I have got stories that you can tell. But I want to tell my story of absolutely being bollocksed in a gutter to flying on a private jet. That's what I've done. You know what I mean? Playing a cowboy. It's called Hank. No, I was playing a cowboy in America. 17 months before, I was just some bloke drinking strong cider.
But you don't get many Hanks round Berry,
you get loads of, don't begin with a H, but you get loads of them.
Okay, so it's sort of like we'll round off with a couple of questions now. I mean, you've kind of been doing this throughout the podcast as well, but we'll put the focus on this. What advice could you give to someone who's currently, aside from talking to yourself, what advice could you give to someone who's currently got that problem with drinking drugs?
What
Maybe not at the level you're at, but they want to reinvent themselves, but they're like you, they're drinking in the morning or they're taking drugs to talk.
That's it. Talking is the key. Talking can stop world wars. It can stop you drinking. You need to talk. Realize what you got, what you're going to lose. Talk about it. Don't be frightened. Open up. Because I used to drink secretly for years. Yeah, but it wasn't secret to everybody else. Everyone knew what I was doing. But to me, it's secret drinking. Yeah. Talk about it. Open up. The more you talk, the less you drink. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's all it is. And look at your situations. Look at your lovely missus you got. Look at your kids. Do not fucking lose them like I did. Because if you lose your missus and kids, you've got fuck all. You'll end up in a cottage watching bulls fucking die like me. Yeah. And that's it. That's simple. Do not lose your family. If you lose your family, forget it.
Fantastic advice. What I'd love you to do, Dan, because obviously you mentioned on your motto there, what is it? Don't do
what Big Dan would have done.
Say, talking to that camera and say, go on, I interrupted you there, so I'll let you do it again.
Don't do what Big Dan would have done.
Fantastic. And then the final sort of question is, so having found your purpose on your journey now, what are 3 things, maybe there's more, maybe there's not 3, maybe there's just 1 condensed into 3, 3 things that you're now grateful for in life?
Health, happiness, and waking up fresh every day. Not having something control me. Don't forget, I had something control me for years. Every day. He controlled me, had hold of me, pulling my shirt every day. Drink, drink, drink. You have to drink. I haven't got nothing. I'm free as a bird. I am absolutely free. And you know, the feeling to be free and not having is the best feeling in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing. You know what I mean? I can drive down the road and I've not got any worries. Everyone's got worries, but I am free. And to feel free, happy, sober is an amazing feeling. But people take it for granted. Yeah. But people who are struggling will know what I'm on about. Well, just talk, get in touch, talk. You know, and if you're struggling, get in touch with me because I've been there, I've done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can earn a new friend.
No, fantastic, Dan. And, you know, just listening to, obviously we spoke both on and off camera and you've told me various stories and we'd love to get them all in on this podcast. It was just not enough hours in the day, as it were. So I think a book's really a good option. It's good to see you. You know, obviously great. To meet finally in person, but also to see, because I've seen the photos, obviously we'll put them up on the episode as well. I've seen where you was at and to see where you're at now. And, you know, it's great and it really is one of those stories that's going to resonate so well with anybody, I think.
Yeah, but
you know?
People have got problems, not as big as mine, but they'll be able to say, you know what, that's right. You know what I mean? Secret drinking, you know, boredom. People get bored at home. That's why they drink. I don't care what people say. People don't know why they drink at home. They drink at home because they're bored. That's it, simple. So when they stop drinking, they get sober and they go, you know what? This is why I was drinking. I was drinking because I'm not very happy at home. Situations like that. I've read it all, seen it all, done it all. So just slow it down. Evaluate your own situations, but do it sober. And do not lose your families. Yeah. And don't be a picture on a fireplace. Yeah,
no, it's good. It's good. Good outlook to have, mate. Dan, you've been a fantastic guest.
Been amazing.
It's been a pleasure to have you on. And like I said, I'm sure your story will resonate with so many people. And I know you said you're not going to do any more podcasts, but I think you should.
I might do. I've got that much ammunition. You know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, you could do different parts. You know, obviously talk about kind of like your early life, and then that could be a podcast in itself, and then they copy some out to stories.
Yeah, I'm going to do my book. I've got to say, I'm going to do my book from year to year, because every Christmas, remember, you sit down and you think, what have I achieved this year? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what you do. What have I lost this year? Yeah. You know, you can't have achieved, you might have lost. You know, but so that's what. There's this Christmas, I'll sit down and go, what have I done from last year? Yeah. You know what I mean? I've stayed sober and I've been to America acting.
It's good that you've got that outlook now where you can do that and you can. So, because I suppose once upon a time it was just looking at photos and I was bad there.
Yeah, I was bad there. That's what I do. Bad, good. Oh my God, shit, bad. Oh, you looked all right there. Yeah. No, I looked smart there. It didn't look so bad, the colour there. You know, that's how I went. That's how I go. Let's have a calendar, shouldn't I?
I don't know if they'd sell out to me further. Maybe get some newer ones with a
No, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I say, don't suffer in silence. You know, and come to see somebody who's actually been there and done it. Yeah. You know, I'm not university trained. I've not been to college. I've not got letters after my name, but I've done it. I've done it, and I've spent a lot of money doing it, and I've got right, and I'm better. Yeah. So come and trust me, like everybody else does.
Fantastic. Well, cheers for coming on, Dan.
You're a good man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So, I've been Daniel Hodges. This has been Big Dan Ramson.
And don't do what I would have done.
You can talk to him via the website below. You've been listening to the Hodge-Cast podcast. Take it easy. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we believe you can definitely take something away from today's guest. We couldn't attract guests such as this without a solid fan base. The best way we can grow this is through subscriptions. So, if you haven't already done so, can I please ask that you hit that subscribe button and help us continue to put out content for you all to enjoy. Until next time.